Good morning. Hi, this is Travis from the National Weather Service, and this is your weather hazard briefing for the first day of the year, January 1st, Wednesday, 2025. We do have a winter storm that will move through today, bringing some light to moderate snow across the area. We'll bring some slippery travel conditions, and then we'll have continued systems, particularly a Friday warm front leading into a cold front on Saturday that will linger a little bit into Sunday. And I'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit more. We do have some patchy fog out there this morning, fairly isolated. Expect a little bit more patchy fog, a little bit more widespread behind the system that moves through today. So for Thursday morning, quite a bit of fog. But for today, a bigger impact is going to be the light to moderate snow, particularly that moderate snow along the Wyoming border and that light snow elsewhere, particularly bring some impacts across the eastern Magic Valley and Snake Plain. As I said, we do have a warm front that's going to raise the snow levels quite significantly. Today, our snow levels are going to be pretty much at the valley floors, with the exception of maybe the Burley area. But as we move into Friday, our snow levels rise quite significantly and warm up the area. The temperatures will be a good 10 to 15 degrees above normal Friday, and the snow levels anywhere around 7,500 feet. So we will have some zonal flow, as the warm front moves through. Impacting mainly, we'll show you those areas in a minute, but mainly the Sawtooth and the eastern highlands. A little bit of breezy winds across as these systems move through. Today will be barely any wind, and same with Thursday into Friday. A little bit more wind on Saturday as we have that cold front move through, and then again continue some light to moderate snow, and I'll show you those amounts here in a second. Here's the satellite imagery as right ahead of this system that's going to move through, like I said, probably by mid-morning across our western areas, and then spread across the whole day as we move through the day today, moving eastward, and then moving out by Thursday morning across our eastern areas, hitting our cities of Idaho Falls and Pocatello by early afternoon today. Current radar, no real returns yet. It's just to our west currently. And then of our weather risk outlook, kind of as I mentioned, are looking for some impacts. We have a winter weather advisories out. I'll show you that right here real quick. Across most of our area, not our northern areas, but across the Snake Plain, 1 to 3 inches. And then we have those 2 to 6 inches and down low across all these other areas, across the eastern, southern highlands and eastern highlands. 2 to 6 inches down low, and then anywhere from 5 to 10 up high, and then maybe even some areas up to 15 inches or so. I'll show you those amounts here in a second. But again, that correlates with the impacts we're seeing with those advisories across our lower areas, light to moderate snow. The more 3 inches range will be along the eastern benches as we go into I-86, and then as you go farther out into the Snake Plain, less chance of snow. And as you go into Burley, it's a very light chance of 1 inch. We'll have a rain-snow mix probably this afternoon. And then, as I mentioned, as we go into Thursday, the snow will linger, but then stops, and then it will start up again late Friday into Saturday as of that warm front, and then Saturday as that cold front goes through. Mostly mountain snow, kind of highlighted orange where the heavier snow amounts will be, and it does linger a little bit into Sunday, particularly across our eastern areas, which I highlight there in yellow. This is the total QPF amounts. You can see the in good 1 inch QPF for the several days for some areas, 0.75 to 1 inch, particularly along the Wyoming border, and kind of tipping that 2 inches there. In the extreme edge of the Sawtooth, we generally that 1 inch as well for the whole 7 days. And I mentioned the advisories already, and then here's our low and high temps today. So most of the precip today will be snow, but you can see here in the Burley area for this afternoon, it does rise above that 32 degrees. So a rain-snow mix in there, because when we see the snow amounts, it'll be a little bit lower for those areas. Here's our snowfall and wind gusts today. You can see that Oakley area is less than 1 inch. But you can see along the eastern benches, it is kind of pushing that 2 inches, maybe possible 3 inches, and then the heavier amounts certainly are the Wasatch, the Caribou Range, as well as the Big Hole Mountains. And then we are starting to see some in the Island Park area, but we went ahead and put advisories for all these areas here, as mentioned. Not so much in the Central Mountains. I mean, there are quite a bit right along the Sawtooth, western Sawtooth edge, but even Galena is fairly low amounts for them, so hold off on advisories on those. Um, and then you can see our wind gusts are relatively um, light, although they do go up to around 15 to 25. And you can see particularly the eastern benches there across the Snake Plain is where the kind of the windiest areas, and as well as the ridge tops there in Central Mountains and Wasatch. And then here's Thursday's temperatures. You can see it does start warming up into the 40s. And as far as our snow amounts, this is really kind of lingering from the Wednesday storm. And then this over here is kind of the start of the warm front that moves through on Friday. As far as those amounts go, and then the wind gusts still do go up to around 20, 25 for some areas, particularly the ridge tops. And as we get into Friday, it's very warm, approaching not quite records, but we're certainly a good 10 to 15, if not near 20 degrees above normal in some of these southwest areas. And of course, any of the precip that happens on Friday will pretty much rain in all these lower elevation areas. You can see even our low temperatures here are above freezing. So any snow that we do have on Wednesday today, expect it to really melt off on Thursday and Friday from those lower elevations in particular. And then here's our snowfall and wind gusts from that warm front on Friday. It's kind of the relatively low because it's just the high snow levels as far as the amounts. And then here's our wind gusts starting to pick up a little bit, but still in that 20-25 range. And it gets a little bit breezier on Saturday, but here's our low and high temperatures on Saturday. Drops a little bit, but you'll see a more significant drop on Sunday, particularly after that cold front's gone through behind it. And here's the snow amounts, relatively light as we go as for Saturday, but mainly along our eastern area. So it's, like I said, a fairly weak cold front. You're not seeing a lot of changes in the temperatures. And then we do have some gusts of 30, maybe even up near 40s from those ridge tops in our southwest areas. So it's a little bit breezier on Saturday. And then here are low and high temps on Sunday. And you can see they did drop a little bit, particularly the low temperatures, not so much on the high temperatures. So it's a fairly weak cold front, the one that goes through on Saturday. And here's their lingering snow amounts early Sunday morning. And then there's those wind gusts as well, as I mentioned. For Sunday. They do back off from your Saturday wind gust. Looking at the 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 day outlooks, it does look like high pressure is building in from the west, so that's going to actually decrease our precip chances, maybe just a little bit along our Wyoming border. And as we go into the 8 to 14 on the precip chances, not as likely for any precip in the 8 to 14 day outlook for the next couple of weeks. And then the 6 to 10, here's your temperatures near normal for the 6 to 10, but as we go in the 8 to 14, so that high pressure kind of builds in more from the west. And so it's a good chance of above normal temperatures as we go in the 8 to 14 day outlook. Just a recap, we do have a little bit of patchy fog this morning, even more so tomorrow morning. We do have a winter storm system moving through. It'll start this morning and continue into Thursday morning. The most light to moderate snow. Most everywhere will get snow, but the more moderate snow will be along the Wyoming border. And then Thursday into Friday, we warm up quite a bit. And Friday, we have that warm front that goes through that raises temperatures up significantly, brings snow levels to about 7,500 feet. And then we have a weak cold front that moves through on Saturday, bringing some continued snow, particularly just for the mountains. And we do have some breezy winds. Not so bad for this first system, gusts of 15 to 25, but it does increase as we go into Saturday as the cold front goes through, some gusts in the 25 to 35 range. That concludes the briefing. If you have any questions, give us a call at this number. Thank you.